This is the second of my ongoing series of Wonderland reviews, and today I'll be looking at a 1985 production entitled Alice in Wonderland, directed by Harry Harris and starring Natalie Gregory as the title role. It first aired on CBS as a two-part made-for-television series featuring an all-star cast of its day. The first part is an adaptation of Alice's adventures in Wonderland. The second, an adaptation of Alice Through the Looking Glass. But whereas Carol's stories took place at different points in time, these stories flow from one into the other. Alice is introduced as a prim and proper, polite young lady.
I wish I could have tea with everyone. I really wish I could.
Tea is for grown-ups, dear.
But Mother, when will I be grown up?
Oh, be patient, Alice. Tea time for you will come soon enough.
This becomes the overlying premise for the events that follow.
You have to be much taller to be grown up, and you won't cry as much.
Rather like Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz, she has a constant yearning to get home, which becomes increasingly annoying as the film goes on and makes everything pretty one-dimensional and often bland. Almost all of the original characters make an appearance, though most are a bit too goofy for my liking, and the whole thing has a very pantomime-type feel. Though Natalie Gregory is clearly a highly skilled actress, her talent has rarely showed off to its true potential. Her demeanour is whiny and worried throughout, but many moments are genuinely endearing, and despite her flaws, Alice is still a likeable character.
You are old, Father William, the young man said, and your hair has become very white. And yet you incessantly stand on your head. Do you think at your age it is right?
I really enjoyed the old Father William routine with Sammy Davis Jr., as well as Martha Ray singing a song about hatred as the Duchess.
There's something to say for hatred, for rudeness and for spite. Oh no, my friend, we can't pretend that everything's sweetness and light.
But many of the others, though well constructed, were pretty forgettable. The first half was quite compelling, up until Alice met the Queen of Hearts, and then it all got a bit shambolic.
Just for that, off with her head in small increments. No, come now, dear.
Things pick up once Alice meets the Griffin and the Mock Turtle, who just so happens to be Ringo from the Beatles, and he performs this fab little number.
Nonsense, nonsense, simply can't do without it. Burn incense to nonsense and sing us a song about it.
I also love the fact they have given him an earring. Overall, the costumes are hit and miss. Some look great, others are borderline terrifying. Speaking of which... this nightmarish creature is unleashed as the first episode draws to a close. Alice thinks she is home, but soon discovers she is trapped within the looking glass, her parents seemingly oblivious. After reading an extract from the Jabberwocky, we are suddenly presented with the aforementioned beast. We find out that the Jabberwocky is a representation of Alice's inner fears that she must learn to overcome in order to grow up. The rendition of the Walrus and the Carpenter was great. The costumes, location and choreography made a charming but unsettling combination, fitting for the piece.
And why the sea is boiling hot, and whether pigs have wings.
Carol Channing's performance as the White Queen was hilarious, coming across heavily inebriated.
Jam tomorrow, jam yesterday, but never ever jam to the sky.
Which worked brilliantly as it fell in line with her dishevelled appearance and impromptu naps. All was falling in line for things to end as they do in the book. But events take an unexpected turn when a gift arrives for Alice. Out shoots the Jabberwocky, and a drawn-out, overly dramatic chase sequence follows. Even the White Knight re-emerges, sacrificing his life in order to help Alice escape, which definitely didn't happen in the book. She finally defeats the Jabberwocky by yelling,
I don't believe in you!
3 times, of course. Like a reverse Beetlejuice, Alice reunites with her mother, and for once she is invited to join the adults for tea, as she has grown up so much during her snooze. We then have this moment like at the end of Labyrinth, where all the looking glass creatures look back at her through the mirror. But instead of an upbeat bed bounce, it's a soppy, sickly, sweet love song. In conclusion, Harry Harris's Alice in Wonderland has its highs and its lows. It was great to see so many of the original characters, many of which are often left out, but it was clearly more important that the celebrities showcase their talent rather than Carol's work be authentically portrayed. However, talent there was aplenty, and let us not forget, these were the days before auto-tuning. It was an odd blend of twisted.
There's no way home from this strange land.
And overly sentimental.
Your heart, I'm sure, knows what is best for you.
That to me didn't work well, but I particularly disliked how all of Carol's deep philosophical points were reduced to in-your-face analogies about puberty and growing up. The Red Queen with her flowing red shawl singing about emotions being a prime example. Much of Carol's original humour was lost due to the chopping and changing of dialogue. They added an unnecessary owl, used guinea pigs instead of hedgehogs, made the Cheshire Cat evil, and the White Knight fall in love with Alice. Also, the Hatter wasn't stuck at 6 o'clock. They added a vulture, a tarantula on a web, and the chessboard had way too many squares. Taking everything into account, I have decided to give Harry Harris's Alice in Wonderland a disappointing 5 out of a possible 10 cheeky Cheshire Cat grins. Let me know your thoughts and suggestions for future Wonderland reviews, and remember to like and subscribe for more Wonderland related content.
Can you do addition? What is 1 and 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 2? Can you do subtraction? 8 from 9 and 2 from 8 and 6 and 3 and 1 from 7?